Have you ever walked away from a negotiation, maybe asking for a raise, or even just arguing with your partner, feeling like you totally compromised and still somehow lost? Well, stick around, because in this explainer, we are going to break down the exact field-tested psychological playbook the FBI uses to talk anyone into or out of just about anything.
Here's the wild part, right? The exact same psychological tools used by the FBI to talk down bank robbers are the exact same tools you need for everyday conflicts. Chris Voss spent over 2 decades in the Bureau, and he realized that human nature is just human nature. Whether you're dealing with a hardened criminal or an absolutely impossible boss, the underlying emotional gears turn exactly the same way. Picture this scenario. Voss is invited to Harvard Law School to test his skills against top academic negotiation professors in a simulated kidnapping. And they hit him with this terrifying line. But instead of panicking or arguing logic, Voss completely outmaneuvered them using a simple, open-ended question. He just asked, "How am I supposed to do that?" He instantly bought time and forced them to solve his problem. So let's see exactly why that worked.
Let's get right into Section 1, the new rules.
For years, old-school negotiation told us humans are purely rational actors, like calculators. But the FBI figured out the hard way that we are actually highly emotional, irrational creatures. If you try to negotiate using just that cold mathematical logic without addressing those unconscious animalistic emotions, well, it's like trying to make an omelet without breaking an egg. You have to engage the emotion first.
Because let's face it, absolutely everything in life is a negotiation. Seriously, everything. From buying a car, to landing a major contract, to just trying to get your kid to go to sleep at 9 p.m. If you want something from someone else, you are negotiating. And mastering this means gathering information and influencing behavior without causing damage.
Moving on to Section 2, mastering tactical empathy.
Now look, empathy doesn't mean you have to agree with the other side, you don't have to like them, and you definitely don't have to cave to their crazy demands. Tactical empathy is more about weaponizing active listening. It's about deeply understanding their situation so you can gain leverage.
And the absolute easiest way to start doing this is with your tone of voice. Imagine a late-night FM DJ. When you use that deep, slow, calming voice, you actually trigger a neurological calming effect in your counterpart's brain. You aren't commanding them, you're soothing them, making them feel safe enough to completely lower their guard.
Then you pair that voice with an absolute Jedi mind trick called mirroring. Seriously, all you do is repeat the last 1 to 3 critical words of what someone just said. Biologically, humans fear what's different and are drawn to what's similar. Mirroring insinuates similarity. It makes the other person feel magically bonded to you, prompting them to keep talking without you ever having to ask a probing question.
Next in the toolkit is labeling. This is where you spot a negative emotion and literally call it out. Saying something like, "It looks like you're frustrated," or, as the FBI actually said to fugitives trapped in an apartment, "It looks like you don't want to go back to jail." Exposing a fear to the daylight instantly diminishes its power. It neutralizes the toxic emotion and builds massive trust.
That brings us to Section 3, the power of no. We've all been trained to get to yes as fast as possible, right? But pushing for a yes actually just makes people super defensive. Think about that sleazy car salesman trying to trap you into saying yes. Instead, giving someone the permission to say no makes them feel safe, secure, and like they are totally in control of the driver's seat.
Just try flipping it to a no-oriented question. It works miracles. Instead of asking, "Do you have a few minutes?" which instantly makes people put up a wall, ask, "Is now a bad time to talk?" They'll almost always say, "No, it's fine, what's up?" It forces their focus and opens the door without triggering their defenses.
And here is the ultimate jackpot you're digging for. When the person you're talking to says, "That's right." Once they say those 2 words, they've completely embraced your summary of their situation. You've created an epiphany. But a quick warning here. If they say you're right, you failed. You're right is just a polite phrase people use to get you to shut up and go away without committing to a single thing.
All right, let's jump to Section 4, bending their reality and guaranteeing execution.
This right here is the core philosophy of the whole system. Never split the difference. Compromising, just meeting in the middle, is honestly a lazy way to feel safe. Look at it this way. If I want to wear black shoes and you want me to wear brown shoes, splitting the difference means I wear one black and one brown shoe. It looks ridiculous, and it almost always leads to a terrible deal for both sides.
You have to embrace the hard conflict to find the real value.
And as you're hashing out that deal, you have to remember the 738-55 rule. Communication is only 7% the actual words spoken, 38% is the tone of voice, and a massive 55% is body language. If the words say yes, but their tone is hesitant, and they are physically pulling away, there's a huge chance they're lying to you.
Because let's be real, a yes means absolutely nothing without a how. To guarantee they'll actually follow through, you need the rule of 3. Get them to agree, then use a calibrated question like, how will we know we're on track? And then summarize their plan so they say, that's right. It is incredibly hard for someone to fake conviction 3 times in a row.
Now, if you're actually haggling over numbers, like a salary or a house price, don't just throw out random guesses. Use the Ackerman model. You set your goal, make an extreme first offer at 65%, and make your concessions progressively smaller. It totally exploits psychological dynamics, breaking the usual haggling stalemate and making the other side feel like they just squeezed every last drop out of you.
Finally, Section 5, Finding the Black Swan. In literally every negotiation, there are hidden pieces of information, the unknown unknowns. To find these game-changing leverage multipliers, you have to dig deep into your counterpart's hidden worldview. You have to move way past the visible negotiating table and figure out what is truly driving them behind the scenes. So how do you actually find them? Use backup listeners on your team to read between the lines. Look closely at your counterpart's unguarded moments, especially when they are acting quote-unquote crazy, because spoiler alert, they aren't crazy. They just have hidden constraints or bad information that you don't know about yet. Finding just one of these black swans gives you completely unparalleled leverage.
So really think about it. Are you leaving black swans on the table in your everyday conflicts? Negotiation isn't some dirty, manipulative word. It is a continuous, empathetic practice. By actively listening, labeling emotions, and hunting for those hidden black swans, you aren't just winning arguments, you are literally transforming your relationships.
If you really want to master these tactics, I've put together something special for you. You can get the full summary of this entire system, a complete character analysis of the different negotiator types, and all the most important quotes curated just for you for only INR 29. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram using the link right down in the description below this explainer. Seriously, grab it, because this will change the way you interact with the world forever. Catch you in the next one.